Pierre Garçon, 5 seasons in Washington, 11 years in the NFL, a man who knows this franchise from the inside out, and he just posted on X, "This would be really good for both sides. I believe it will happen." That is not wishful thinking. That is a veteran who knows something the rest of the world does not know yet, and in 1 minute, I am going to break down exactly why Stefon Diggs signing with the Commanders could be the best move Adam Peters has made in his entire tenure, or the mistake that nobody in Ashburn is seeing coming. But that is not all that is happening in the burgundy and gold universe today, because while the offense could be on the verge of getting its most lethal weapon, the defense just landed a piece that Daniel Jeremiah from NFL Network did not expect to still be on the board at pick 7. A linebacker that Jeremiah himself described as the direct answer to the most urgent problem in the NFC East. And there is a story inside that story that most of the fan base has not caught yet, one that puts Frankie Luvu at the most important crossroads of his entire career. And when you put all of that in context with what just happened with the new RFK Stadium, the return to D.C., the Dome, the $4 billion, there is a complication that nobody in the DMV saw coming, and it could change the experience of every single fan who walks through those gates on opening day. 3 fronts, 1 map, and the full picture of where the Washington Commanders are headed in 2026. Raise hail, let's ride! When a man who spent 5 seasons suiting up in burgundy and gold, 11 years in this league, someone who knows what it means to wear this jersey from the inside out, gets on X and says, "This would be really good for both sides. I believe it will happen," with expressive emojis and everything. That is not a casual tweet. That's a man who knows something. Pierre Garçon is not some random fan posting wishful thinking on a Wednesday afternoon. That's a veteran. That's a man with real connections in this world. And when he speaks on the Commanders, the DMV listens. Now let's get analytical, because this deserves that treatment. Stefon Diggs is coming out of a complicated stretch. The Patriots situation, the legal drama, the Buffalo fallout that still stings. If you followed him closely, his image has some scratches on it. That's real. We're not going to pretend otherwise. But listen to me right now. If you sign him to a 1-year prove-it deal, the upside is enormous. Why? Because Jaden Daniels needs weapons. Last season, the offense was inconsistent, and part of that was JD's health, yes. But it was also that when the quarterback went down, there was nobody else out there who could manufacture their own shot. Terry McLaurin is elite, but when defenses know he's the only real threat on the field, life gets hard. Diggs flips that entire table. Think about it. You've got Terry on the outside creating verticality. You've got Diggs in the slot or on the opposite side with that whack ability and those surgically precise routes. And on top of that, Washington drafted Antonio Williams in the 3rd round, a route runner who beat reporters are already calling one of the best in the entire class. Add Treylon Burks and Luke McCaffrey, and suddenly you have a receiver room with depth, with veteran leadership, with real teeth. Diggs with Daniels would be, man, JD already showed he can elevate any receiver. Now imagine giving a quarterback with that level of field vision and execution a weapon like Diggs. Someone who knows how to create separation in congested zones, who has the football IQ to adjust mid-route, who in his prime was virtually unguardable. Diggs at 100%? Probably not. Diggs at 75%? Still a massive problem for any cornerback in the NFC East. The concerns are real. The locker room fit, the attitude. We saw what happened in Buffalo, and on a team as young as Washington, adding a strong personality can cut both ways. But look at what they did with Bobby Wagner. Veteran leadership can be medicine too. Look, I could be wrong on this. Maybe the numbers don't add up. Maybe Diggs wants more than Peters is willing to pay. But if Adam Peters can move him on a 1-year structure with incentives, that's exactly the kind of low-risk, high-reward move that has defined this front office. And with the London game in Week 4 against the Colts already confirmed, imagine the Commanders rolling out that offense at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in front of the entire world. Burgundy and gold filling London with Diggs, McLaurin, and Daniels. Somebody wake me up. And while everyone's talking about what might be coming on offense, what Peters already built on defense is equally brutal. And there's a story inside that story that most of y'all haven't clocked yet. Daniel Jeremiah, one of the most respected draft analysts in the game over at NFL Network, the man genuinely believed Sonny Styles would be gone before Washington's pick. He said it straight up. I did not think he'd be there for Washington at 7. And he's right. That was a gift wrapped in burgundy and gold. When Adam Peters was raving about Styles during the pre-draft process, Jeremiah was listening and thinking, sure, he loves the kid, but he's not going to get him. Nobody expected Styles to fall, and when he fell, Peters didn't blink. That's the instinct of a general manager who reads the board. Now, here's what Jeremiah specifically pointed out, and almost nobody in the fan base caught this. Styles is not just a high-ceiling linebacker. Styles is a direct tactical answer to the most pressing problem in the NFC East right now, and that problem is mobile quarterbacks. Listen to me, Jackson Dart in New York with his mobility, Jalen Hurts in Philly, who when he decides to take off is a nightmare for any defense, and even Prescott, who doesn't move around as much anymore, still needs to be contained from second-level breakdowns. Jeremiah said straight up that both Styles and Arvell Reese are good fits for the type of quarterbacks you're going to play in the NFC East. That's not generic praise. That's tactical analysis. Styles has the lateral explosiveness to close running lanes, the length to affect passing windows, and the football IQ to not get abused in coverage. He comes out of Ohio State where he learned to read mobile quarterbacks in the Big Ten. And now in Ashburn, he's going to rep against the most dangerous mobile quarterback in football every single day in practice. Jaden Daniels, that's the best possible preparation a rookie linebacker could have before week 1. But here's where the story gets interesting because Styles' arrival doesn't happen in a vacuum. It directly impacts Frankie Luvu, who is coming off a complicated 2025 campaign. Luvu in 2024 was a problem. Second-team All-Pro alongside Wagner, a lethal partnership, but last year they kicked him out to the edge because of injuries and his production dropped. Now Durante Jones is moving him back inside to his natural off-ball role, and he's in a contract year, $11.29 million against the cap, and 0 reports of an extension. With Styles and Leo Chenal in that linebacking core, Luvu knows that if he doesn't deliver, Peters has options. This is his season of truth. And y'all know me, I believe in Frankie Luvu. The man plays with a massive chip on his shoulder, undrafted out of Washington State, forced his way up from being a special teams ace with the Jets to becoming one of the most dynamic linebackers in this league. That mentality doesn't just disappear, but the clock is ticking, and Styles is already making noise at rookie minicamp in Ashburn. The future arrived, fam, and it's asking Luvu to be the legend he promised he'd be. The stage where all of this is going to happen is also coming together, though there's a complication that personally has me raising an eyebrow. $4 billion, 70,000 seats, a dome, RFK, 2030. Picture that. The Commanders are coming home, back to Washington, D.C., back to the place where this franchise lived its greatest moments. And that new stadium designed by HKS looks absolutely stunning based on the renderings they dropped back in March. But here comes the problem. Transportation officials just announced they will not be recommending the construction of a new metro rail station at the RFK site. The reason, it would cost around $1 billion and would not be ready before the stadium opens in 2030. Instead, they're proposing the Gold Line, a rapid bus service that would connect the stadium to Union Station and existing transit links across the city. And officials also warned that without major upgrades to the current Stadium Armory Station, clearing crowds after a Commanders game could take more than 2 hours. 2 hours, fam. 2 hours to get out of a Commanders game. Look, I understand the fiscal logic. $1 billion extra for a metro line that isn't ready in time is a real problem. But local residents are already sounding the alarm on traffic. More than half of all fans are expected to use public transit. If that transit isn't up to the standard, and the fan experience is going to suffer, and that matters. A $4 billion stadium with a 2-hour exit is a contradiction you don't want attached to your homecoming story. Hopefully the Gold Line ends up being as good as it sounds because the Commanders' return to D.C. deserves a flawless experience. That moment is too special to be overshadowed by logistical chaos. So fam, here's where we stand today in the nation's capital. Stefon Diggs might be on his way to the DMV with PIERRE GARÇON blessing it from X. Sonny Styles is the perfect tactical weapon for the NFC East, and Daniel Jeremiah agrees. Frankie Luvu has a prove-it year staring him in the face. The RFK Stadium is moving forward even if the Metro situation still needs a real answer. And by the way, Week 4, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, London, Washington Commanders versus the Colts. The whole world is about to see this team. Bro, the Commanders aren't just building a roster, they're building a moment, and we're watching it happen in real time. If this video got you fired up the same way it got me, drop that like right now, hit subscribe if you haven't yet, and tell me down in the comments, do you sign Stefon Diggs or is the risk too high? I want to hear from the DMV. Raise hail, fam. See you in the next one.